Have you ever met someone and trusted them almost instantly? Maybe you had just met them. Maybe they hadn't said much. And yet, something about them made you feel comfortable, made you feel confident, made you feel like they could be trusted. Now think about the opposite. Have you ever met someone who immediately made you feel uncertain? Someone who seemed unreliable before they even finished introducing themselves? Why does this happen? How can our brains make these judgments so quickly? The answer lies in psychology. Human beings are constantly searching for signals of safety, signals of competence, signals of trustworthiness, and surprisingly, many of those signals have nothing to do with words. Today, we're going to explore why people often trust well-dressed individuals more and what science reveals about the psychology of trust. Let's begin. Trust is one of the most valuable assets a person can possess. Without trust, relationships struggle, businesses fail, opportunities disappear, leadership becomes impossible. The challenge is that trust takes time to build. But first impressions begin instantly. Within seconds of meeting someone, our brains start asking important questions. Can I trust this person? Are they competent? Are they reliable? Do they seem honest? These judgments happen automatically. Most people are completely unaware that they're making them. One of the first things the brain evaluates is appearance. Appearance acts as a shortcut. When we don't have enough information, we rely on visible clues. Clothing is one of those clues. A neat and professional appearance often creates positive expectations. People assume discipline, responsibility, competence, not because clothing guarantees these traits, but because appearance influences perception. This brings us to a psychological principle known as the halo effect. The halo effect occurs when one positive quality influences how people perceive other qualities. For example, if someone appears professional, people may assume they are also intelligent. If someone appears confident, people may assume they are capable. One positive impression creates additional positive assumptions. This effect is incredibly powerful, and it influences trust. Now, let's talk about consistency. Trust grows when people see consistency between appearance and behavior. Imagine someone who looks organized, speaks clearly, and follows through on promises. Their appearance supports their actions. Everything feels aligned. Alignment creates trust. On the other hand, inconsistency creates doubt. People become uncertain when signals conflict. The next factor is body language. Even the best clothing cannot create trust if body language communicates insecurity. Trustworthy individuals tend to display open body language. They make eye contact. They smile naturally. They appear relaxed. Their movements feel genuine. This creates emotional comfort, and emotional comfort creates trust. Another important factor is grooming. Many people underestimate the psychological impact of grooming. Clean hair, neat appearance, attention to personal care. These details communicate self-respect, and people often trust individuals who demonstrate self-discipline. Again, this isn't always rational, but human psychology rarely is. The brain constantly looks for patterns, and grooming is one of the patterns people notice. Now here's something fascinating. Trust isn't only influenced by appearance. Appearance also influences confidence. When people dress well, they often feel more confident. This phenomenon is known as enclothed cognition. What you wear affects how you think, how you feel, and how you behave. A confident person tends to communicate more effectively. They speak with certainty. They maintain stronger eye contact, they project calmness, and all of these qualities contribute to trust. Let's discuss one of the most overlooked aspects of trust: calmness. Truly trustworthy people rarely appear desperate. They don't rush, they don't panic easily, they don't constantly seek approval. They appear stable, emotionally balanced, grounded. Psychologically, calmness signals competence. When people remain composed under pressure, others naturally feel safer around them, and safety is one of the foundations of trust. Another factor is authenticity. Many people attempt to appear trustworthy, but people are surprisingly good at detecting insincerity. Authenticity matters. The most trusted individuals are usually comfortable being themselves. They don't try to impress everyone. They don't pretend to know everything. They communicate honestly, and honesty creates credibility. Now let's address a common misconception. Some people believe trust comes from looking expensive. It doesn't. Trust comes from looking intentional. There's a difference. Expensive clothing can attract attention. Intentional presentation creates confidence. Confidence creates credibility. And credibility creates trust. That's why some people wearing simple clothing appear more trustworthy than others wearing luxury brands. It's not the price. It's the message. As we approach the end of this video, remember this. Trust is not built by clothing alone. Clothing simply influences the first chapter of the story. Real trust is built through actions, through consistency, through integrity, through reliability. However, appearance influences whether people are willing to read that story in the first place. Your appearance creates an opportunity. Your character determines what happens next. So dress with purpose, communicate confidence, respect yourself, stay authentic, and over time, you'll discover something powerful. People are more likely to trust those who trust themselves. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Power Dressing Psychology for more content on confidence, psychology, success, and personal development. And remember, trust begins with perception, but it survives through character. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.